Welcome back. Welcome back to An Athlete's Journey. I'm your host, Travis Reed, and today we are in 661 Studios Creators Block. Shout out to them because uh, usually I know I do the Zoom call thing, so this is something different.
Yeah, better quality.
Super happy about it. So for your Spotify listeners, just go to my YouTube channel. Obviously, everything will be in the link. And then y'all see, like, I'm actually in the real studio, doing the interview with somebody I recently just met, but like somebody who's very special, who's a good person. I could just tell right off the bat. So, and if y'all want to challenge him, he'll whoop y'all ass. I'm letting y'all know. Don't mess with him. I'm telling you. So I want you to introduce yourself, and then we'll go into your story a little bit.
My name is Eduardo Alvarado. I run and manage a gym. It's called Kicks Martial Arts. I do Muay Thai kickboxing. I've been doing it for about 17 years. I just recently won the middleweight title at IFS for 165. And yeah, that's how my boy heard about me and here to tell my story or whatever he's here to ask.
Well, like I was telling y'all, I'm not joking. He will, put them paws on you at 165. When I saw him, I was like, man, nah, I'm gonna just handshake him, give him straight dap, give him straight dap, straight love. Like, hey man, how you doing? Great, great. Yeah, I didn't even know. Like I said, it's good that he told me this. He's a champion. So, really, I'm gonna give him straight love. Well, I want to just get into your story. Pretty much. I know we talked about a little bit off camera, but how did you, growing up, did you play sports or?
So I'm the youngest of five, and my family did not come of money. So usually the way that worked out was the eldest had priority for funding for extracurricular activities. So I didn't play any sports up until I was like, well, I guess essentially 14. I had a temper. I was a problem child. I took after my father a lot. I had a lot of built up aggression, and for the most part, like all I could really do was like shoot hoops with some of my friends at school or lift weights at home. But that's pretty much it. Like I kept to myself. Like my neighborhood was pretty rough, so like going outside was outside like out of the question. There's like drug dealers and gang issues, so like I didn't want any of that energy, so I would just stay home. And then my eldest sister is about 12 years older than me. So she was already off in college. She kind of low key heard what was going on at home. So on my 14th birthday, she's like, I'll make you a deal. Like, if you want to scout some extracurricular activity, I'll pay for a month of it. And I was like, sounds great. And I've always wanted to do martial arts. So I looked at the closest gym nearby, and it happened to be the very first Muay Thai gym to ever open up in America. It was like ground zero for that. I had no idea. It looked super run down, but it was like super rich in history. So I walk in there and like, I was pretty like taken back with like how real this shit was. Like typically you like watch movies and like things are flashy, things are like, choreographed, and I'm watching these little kids and when they hit like the sound, I was like, nah, this is different. Tried it from there and like I knew I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. As soon as I did it, obsessed with it, took a couple of smokers, quickly turned into an amateur, quickly rose the ranks of an amateur, and that was just kind of the start of my career.
No, that's a heck of a start. Just to, like I said, go straight from, this is what I want to do, going into something where like you're successful in it. I mean, I can only imagine, like you said, the way the bag was probably sounding when the, kids is kicking the mess out of it. I've seen it. I've seen it in boxing. Like when dudes be hitting a heavy bag and like it'd be like, man, is he gonna break the bag?
It's different. Like when you see it on TV or on like on like Instagram on videos, you're like, okay. But like even hitting the bags and like watching a fight, when you hear like the smack in real life, you're like, nah, that's different. That's different.
Nah, I feel you. So you said that you was an amateur. How many years were you an amateur for?
Well, I'm still technically an amateur.
Okay.
So once you turn pro, you can't go back. That's all pro means is that you're making money.
Okay.
And then you can get into some legal issues if you like fight outside of the ring. But like amateur, like I'm pretty much like semi-pro. So like the only thing that's different that I do is that I wear elbow pads, but like I'm not wearing shin guards. Like the gloves, the ounces are the same. The setup is the same. High ranking, so like title fights, pretty much people that are about to turn pro, like that's who I'm fighting. Matter of fact, the last person that I fought before the last person that I fought, the last two people that I fought for one promotion, which is like the equivalent of like UFC. So it's the kickboxing version of that. So like the people that are high ranking as an amateurs typically do well in pros. I would say like 4 people in my career that I've fought are like top 10 in the nation.
Oh, wow.
That I've fought in. I just have never made that threshold because of life. Life was more important than the sport itself. And there are times I go back and forth where I was like, man, like I wish I would just like let the art consume me. But at the same time, like I've learned a lot of valuable lessons outside of the sport that have made me whole and made me happy where I don't regret that choice. And now here I am kind of like passing those lessons and trying to paint those words to aspiring athletes that are coming up that way. Cause like, I never got like good advice. I mean, I take that with a grain of salt because like my trainer gave me great advice, but he spoke broken English. He's straight Thai.
Wow.
So like, you know, he speaks like a caveman. So like I have to go off body language and like back in the day, like nobody threw you a bone and like just kind of like preyed on your downfall, would tell you like, you don't have what it takes, kid. And like in my brain, I was like, it's only a matter of time till I become champion. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, man, you're really arrogant. You're really delusional up until like, I was in that spot and they're like, oh man, you're a genius. You're great. So there was a lot of like figuring out on your own and like letting the process of struggling be normal. But I loved it so much that like struggling was like fun to me because as soon as I solved that problem, like it was no longer a problem and like I knew the answer very well. And it's always like seeking out the next like block. And then now I have this different wall or this different problem or this different aspect and like figuring that out. So like when I explain it to my students or to aspiring athletes, like what took me 2 years to understand and like really understand like takes them far less. And it's exciting to see that like all the barriers that I had to get through, like they're slipping over. I'm like, man, like if they stick with it, like they'll go much further than I have. And it's interesting because like I was in the coaching position for a while. And then I took the recent fight that happened maybe like 3 months ago. And it's one thing to go from coaching mode and like delegating, like do this, do that like, all right, do it yourself. And then, you're out of shape, you're older, things are different. So I'm like, okay, like how do I objectively look at the game with all the knowledge that I have and like apply it? Like, okay, like I'm not in shape. So like, how do I get to like the baseline of what like a superstar athlete looks like? Now that you're a superstar athlete, like how do you get into the cadence of like, beating this other person and like having solid technique and like having like infinite stamina, being efficient, like being relaxed, being controlled, hitting hard, knowing when to go, knowing when to stop, positioning, all that, and executing it well. And like now when you execute it well, like, and your students see you, everything that you've been preaching in class, everything that you've been explaining, everything that you've been breaking down, they see it in real time, and all of a sudden, like the words hit differently. Now that I go back into the coaching position, it just feels really good because I feel like I'm building like a dynasty or an empire. My style has always been a little bit different, so I fight ambidextrous. Both stances. Typically, you're either a southpaw or an orthodox. If you switch stances, it's only for like a little bit of time. But like I am truly ambidextrous, which creates like angle changes, and like no matter what position I fall in, like I always have an answer. And now that I explain it to my students, like they're like, okay, like this. It truly is different in this game. So like it's exciting.
No, I only can imagine. I feel like, like you said, like that kind of sport is the only sport where dude can like kind of retire and then, or be a coach and then come back and get in shape.
Yes and no. If you're really good, there's a current fighter. His name is Sanchai. That dude's like, I want to say 43, 45 years old, which is like old in the sport. In the sport. I'm not saying old. I
just turned 46,
typically people retire at like, I would say 36 is like where like no matter what youth comes into play. Like I know that I could beat my ass, my 21 year version of myself now, but like the reason why I got so good is because like a youth carried me a lot, like, in a lot of like not good ways that like I can't get away with now. So like now I have to be like, like before I could get blacked out drunk and go train when I was like 19, 21. And there'd be no issues with recovery. Like I would get an injury and like it would take 3 days and like I'm back in there. Like now like I take two casual drinks and I'm like destroyed the next day. I get a dinger and like I'm nursing that forever. But I'm much more efficient about the way that I move and utilizing my youth. I know that I only have about like 4 or 5 years in me if like I really wanted to like test my limits with like the world echelon of like the top 3% of fighters. But like the difference between like the top 90 and then every percentage like from 90 to 91 is far greater from 0 to 90.
Oh. Okay.
Every 1%, you're like, damn, like that small detail, huge with consistency. And honestly, like everybody has the potential to be anybody if they carry themselves well. So I forgot what the point that I was trying to make. What was the original question?
Well, we'll move forward.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll move forward. I wanted to kind of go back on something that we discussed off camera. You were saying like you were doing like kind of a street fighting thing before you started fighting like in the gym.
So I would get into, this was like in middle school. Like I had beef with gangs. Not like I hate this like the red side, the blue side, or this street or that street. But like I grew up like in a church dynamic with my family. My family tried to raise me right. And we lived in a rough neighborhood. And I remember like on my way going to church, there was like a local like gang that was like, hanging out in the neighborhood. And as we were walking to our car, they were catcalling my mom and like making us feel uncomfortable. And my dad like had to stand up for for us. And I was like, man, like I was like 6. I was super little, and I was like, man, what pieces of shit? Like, I vouched to never like go in that general direction.
Right.
Fast forward, I'm like 12, 13, and I'm the most feared kid on the school block.
Right.
And all these like wannabe gangsters like want to recruit me. I'm like, nah, like I'm not about that life. With that said, if you want problems, like we can run it. and everybody like kind of knew like if you didn't run in numbers, like the one-on-one fade, like even without knowing martial arts,
right.
I was giving people the work.
Where
people like kind of stayed clear of me, and I was always this like angry ass kid. And then when I did Muay Thai, that particular gym that I was in, like you had people of all different levels, casuals, people that are good in the casuals, amateurs, amateur champions, and then you had the 7-time world champion that also was training there. He was some Thai dude. So like if you didn't mind your etiquette and you were just like an asshole, they would always pair you up with like a bigger fish. And the fish was super humbling, where like your pride had to be swallowed. You had to learn etiquette. You had to pay dues. And it was almost like from one schoolyard to another, because as soon as you walk in, like someone's looking at you. They're like, oh, who the fuck is this kid? Like, oh, this kid thing. And if you showed any promise, like someone always wanted to test you. And like with my first 6 months, like my question was like, oh, how long have you been training for? They're like, oh, like 3 years, 6 years. And everyone's like showing off. And in my brain, it's like, okay, like I'm not that far away from him. So if I keep at it, in about 2 months, I should catch up to like 6 years. I was always trying to like be ahead of the curve.
Right.
And I loved like treating myself like I was special, and everybody saw that, and everyone took that as arrogant until like I proved myself right. And that's pretty much
people
it.
thought Muhammad Ali was, until
correct.
he beat him.
That's right. That's right.
So obviously, you start early at 14, early-ish.
Yeah.
And now, we move forward, right? And we talked about it off camera. You meet your child's mother, and you start working a regular job.
Correct.
Now, how was that transition from what you were doing then to working a regular job?
Very similar. in a bitter way. So like whenever you get ready for a fight, there's nothing fucking glorious about that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard work. If you don't respect the process and the routine, you are going to lose. Assuming you fight someone that's like worth something.
Right,
if you're taking like some bum that's not going to contribute, just add you another number, like you're just kind of gassing up you're padding your record.
Okay.
But if you're trying to like beat the dude with the title, if you're trying to climb the ranks and like, in the industry, like, oh, this guy beat this guy. Okay, let's keep our eye on him.
Right.
Like you have to put in the work, and like it's 4 weeks to 2 months of just like fucking suffering, and nobody watches the work that you put in. During that process, you're supposed to lose. You're supposed to like feel like shit. You're supposed to be broken down. You're supposed to not be glorious. Everyone's like, you have a hole here. You got to fix it. Like you're not as sweet as you think you fucking are until you are. So I go back into the work life, and nobody cares about your fucking story. Nobody knows your story. And you're just a regular ass person, and you have someone that you have to answer to. And there's like a hierarchy that you have to like listen to. And if you don't listen to this, then you're out of a job. And there's a lot of different dynamics. And in my mind, it's like, okay, I have to juggle this. Cause ultimately, like I respect the process. Like I wanna make sure that I pay the bills. I want to make sure that I'm happy in life. I want to make sure that like I'm caught up on responsibilities. And then there's the politics, this and that. And if I'm struggling in one area, I try to juggle the areas that I am doing well, and then slowly pay attention to the area that I'm doing bad at. And I found relative success, but at the end of the day, like I feel I love being the underdog. Whether it's in a regular ass job, or I think like the first sport that I played was high school football, outside of like fighting. And I was never like the team captain. I never wanted to like delegate shit, but like every down, every play, like I was in there and I worked super hard. And it wasn't that like I was trying to be the best, but like I don't like being beaten. I don't want to like walk into my work life and like they're like, oh, you have all this work to do, and like for me to crumple under that fucking pressure.
Right.
You're playing against this team, and like for the running back to run me over and over and over, or I let the dude walk through because I'm afraid to fucking hit him. Right. Or I take this fight and like, second round, this dude hits me and like I'm just trying to stay alive, and I don't believe that I can win the fight. Fuck that. I've been there before. So if I tasted a bad day, I want to make sure that no matter what is thrown at me, like I'm good. So like for me, it's that is a process. Like I don't want to be stuck in a traumatic experience and like for me not to be able to do anything. Like I like that control. So while it's work, okay, like if we have thousands of fucking people on the line, let me be the fastest and the most efficient, and let me see if I can maintain that pace and like clear the whole fucking store. And I've done it. And they're like, man, you're like a fucking superhero. And I'm like, yeah, bro, because I'm not trying to like stay in this shit. You're done? Well, we have more work. Fucking keep it coming. Keep it coming, dude. Yeah. And oh man, you're intense. Like fucking, of course, dude. Like I'm not trying to fucking die here. While you train, like, man, like, do you have to go so hard? Yes, because like I've been in there, and like it's a scary thing to experience something and be like, I wasn't expecting that. And that's fucking terrifying. Like, I don't want to like play basketball and get crossed up, or like, like have no defensive answer for some dude driving at you kind of thing. Yeah. So like, that's what motivates me. Like, so like while I'm in there, like, and I'm, going through the processes of experience, whether it's a fight or a work day, like what I imagined was more intense than what's happening.
Right.
And, and I'm ready for the day.
No, I got you. That makes sense. I also feel like when it comes to like the process, like obviously, me being a former professional athlete, like you're in it now. For myself, it was like I want to be prepared. So there was this quote by John Wooden, like not preparing is preparing to fail.
Yep.
So So like when I became professional, especially like as a kid, you don't know. Like as a kid, I didn't know. Like my dad was trying to push me as a kid, because he was my coach. Yeah. You need to work harder. And I'm just like, Dad, I just want to play some Nintendo. I just want to chill and play some Sega Genesis, Dad. Yep. Or whatever. Like, I don't feel like doing this. I want to play some Rock'em Sock'em Robots. He's like, nah, you got to work. And as a kid, you don't realize, like he's trying to teach you, because when you get adult, that's what I learned as an adult was like, okay, I worked out, 6 days a week pretty much when I was playing professional basketball. I had a couple trainers, paid a couple trainers.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I'm taking this craft very, very serious. And so that's why I like the way you were talking about how you prepare for a fight. Because like basketball, being a basketball, player is like, like getting crossover. It looks bad, but like you get an opportunity to come back at them,
Yeah.
If you mess up in your sport, or boxing or your sport, like something like that, like somebody can knock you out,
Brother. So I'm so glad that you said that because like everything is in the extreme heightened. You either feel really fucking good or you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Especially for fighting. Like even if you're active, if you take a fucking loss, it's not like you can come back the next week and make it up.
Yeah.
Like you sitting on that motherfucker for a month or longer. And like the whole time you're like, you're a fucking loser, you're a piece of shit. And it's like the way that you speak to yourself is super important. So like sometimes like it's super easy to like beat yourself down, but at the same time, like if it's not progressive, stop it. Like at the end of the day, like I know that I'm in my own corner. I have my own back. I have a good balance of like you're being too hard on yourself or you're being a bitch about this shit. And you need to push and you need to push yourself a little bit harder.
Right.
And like just like you said, even if you get crossed over, you have four quarters to fucking play. So, swallow your fucking pride. And as long as you make it up and you guys get that W, that's all that matters.
Yep.
I would say in my last fight, that was very relevant because, like, the dude barely touched me. But, like, there was lots of calculated, like, things that looked bad, but that weren't a big deal. So, like, there is this flashy kick. It's called an axe kick where you bring your leg straight up and you, like, try to drop it on the dude's collarbone or head. And I missed it. So he caught it on his arm and he, like, dumped me over and, like, stood over me. And, like, it looks bad that I'm on the ground, but, like, the dude didn't hit me, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
There's another one where like, he like pushes you, like push kicks you in the chest and I fall over, but like, it's not that he hit me so hard that I was dazed and I fell over. I just lost my balance.
Right,
in my head, it's like, just get up, get up and like fucking get it over with, like, keep moving forward. And like the whole time, like, I know this guy is so fucking dangerous that like, I can't afford to eat a clean shot. And like, and even when I did eat that clean shot, shoring up the process of like, that was negative. Okay, that was negative. Keep moving forward. I need to look for the more positives and I need to ramp up that number to ensure that win. So it's like, even when you mess up, don't falter when you mess up. As long as you are so like captivated about moving forward and winning in a positive way, you'll find success. And then like when the end of the day is over, as long as I won, okay, even though you won or lost, go back. Where did I fuck up? How can I improve? And I think that's something that I also learned as like a coach. We look at all of our fighters. What as a gym, as a whole, fundamentally are we missing? Like everyone was doing this, but like we were getting caught in this area. So we go back into the lab and we speak about it transparently as a class. And same thing with my fight. This is what worked and this is what found success. But like this is an area that even I'm not free from it. Like I need to work on. So like, let's all work on it together.
Right.
And it kind of like that vulnerability is super freeing. And I think that vulnerability of being honest about like what makes you weak, but like not feeling weak about, expressing that is also good in life. Like, like I feel constant anger when like, this dynamic approaches, let's, and I didn't express it, so I exploded. Let's talk about communication. Like how can I help like, see that way, like, as a partner, like I can like, help correct that. And like, you could carry that into different aspects of your life, whether it's like a work dynamic or your relationship, like being objective and being vulnerable and being expressive, I think is super important. I think that self-awareness and like, I'm not pushing myself during training, like kind of thing, like I'm not giving it my all is very important. Cause I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm doing well. So why does it fucking matter? I think that can be dangerous. On top of that can be good. Confidence and being lighthearted is a good thing. Cause that's, I think, where people find a lot of success. People put their hands down, they're comfortable and you're in the zone and you're literally untouchable. But at the same time, one careless mistake, like if you literally would have just had that same feeling with like your hands up, like you'd be fucking, you'd be good.
Yeah. like I said, I'm a huge boxing fan, so I watch a lot of boxing, and I watch MMA stuff like that. But like huge boxing fan, so I am excited for the Canelo and Crawford fight. Super excited for that.